Bis noch Mittag. Schash.
לדודי לי ראש הטייבס אל פוס קנים לדודי לי this ראש הטייבס אל why עניין כי באל מאס לוקחים אז אני לדודי מה באל סטארט דין אבל אני לדודי היינו בכנס סרוז לסאט עד שונים כיפורים is עד שונים כיפורים תל שונים כיפ שם בכנס המשול סול חוסיס בוד Mato, Shonim Kippur, the Abishur reveals himself down here in a revealed way. Mishakoso, Smell the Tachs, the Reishi Bimit Chapkein. Shemish Shon, what's the Pshat? The Abishur's left arm, so to speak, is under my head, embracing me, and his right hand is also embracing me. So Shemish Shon, Yom Kippurim Itaiches, what's the meaning of Smell the Tachs, the Reishi? Shemish Shon, Ad Yom Kippurim Upkina Smeli. From Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur is the in of Smeli. Chinas Yida. Why is there Yida in this time? The in of Yida Kava Smel. In the left side of the Eibishter Kaviyachol, the fear of Hashem. Fisha'oz Uzman is Gas Malchusi is Baruch. That's the time the Eibishter reveals his kingdom. There is a Melech. Therefore we call the Eibishter a Melech. In the davenings of the Sesmek Shuvah, it says in the Pasuk, the kingdom of Hashem is the kingdom of all worlds. Pirush, what does it mean in the kingdom of Hashem is the kingdom of all worlds? Pirush, even the hidden worlds, the higher worlds, you're frightened of us, there you have awe of Hashem. Frightened. Yideh from an Eibishter, they have pachet from Hashem because they realize that their whole mitzvah is dependent on Hashem. It says there's a word from the Baal Shem Tov, so the Baal Shem Tov writes, why is there a Yideh? Because they saw V'yar Yisrael Skol Shos Hashem b'Mitzrayim. They saw the Eibishter could make ois mitzvahs, they could become non-existent. The word from Baal Shem Tov. The son, it said the Yideh comes from heaven. They know there could be non-existent. This is true in all the world. That every world is of Shari Semitis doesn't have to be. It's only existent because the Eibishter makes him to be. Doesn't have to be. It's not a mechuyev mitzvahs. Only the Eibishter is mechuyev mitzvahs. Everything else it has a pachet on the Eibishter. The pashas. We saw the pashas get that. Nimshach gam lemat. Ja, en vader, jeder sagt kein Neues. Jeder sagt nicht kein mechuyev. Ach, kein Neues. Es nicht kein mechuyev mitzvahs. Jeder sagt hat mehr Neues. Amas, hast du mehr? Nein. Hat nicht mehr. Azay da Wort von Baal Shem Tov. Weil ja ist aus Hashem, wir Mitzrayim, wir Hashem. Also jeder kommt von Heder. And then from the Hegesh, you feel a feeling that it's not mechuyev, you don't have to be. And this comes also down here. And all the Neshamos Yisrael, the Kaaba El Machshamayim Aleim, to take upon themselves the El Machshamayim, the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. This will cause that the whole year they should have Yiddish Shemayim. They'll have fear of the Eibishter, they'll have awe of Hashem, they'll have Yiddish Shemayim from the whole year. This comes from this revelation of the Eibishter that he reveals his Malchus on Rosh Hashanah, from Rosh Hashanah through Yom Kippur. Here he says a word which maybe later is going to say a little different. We'll see whatever. But here the Valley says because the Yiddish Hashem and Avose Eina Asuyun L'Tur B'Leiv Odem Mikech Atzmi. A person cannot have Yiddish Shemayim or Avos Hashem from his own, by himself. When does a person get a Ava for Hashem, or Yiddish for Hashem, Simcha and Avedis Hashem? That's because the Eibishter reveals himself. The Hainu B'Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, the Eibishter reveals the Yin of Yiddish, Chulu, and so on, and every Yom Tov is a different Yin that the Eibishter is Megala, and that's how we have a kech for that, for the whole year. Everything comes Milamayla. So here's Mashma, like we say, Hakab B'Dei Shemayim, Chutz Mir Shemayim is a Shaila, maybe. But the lapel here he says everything that happens is a person, any Yiddish Hashem, and Avos Hashem, a person doesn't have Mekech Hatzmi. In other places the Rebbe says that what's Pshat, the Hakab B'Dei Shemayim, Chutz Mir Yiddish Shemayim, B'Dei Shemayim is Yiddish Shemayim doesn't come from, but from higher from Shemayim, that's where it comes from, the Yin of Yiddish Shemayim even. Everything comes to the Eibishter at the end of the day. So he says here, everything comes to the Eibishter, it doesn't happen on its own, only from the order that the Eibishter gives and basis man is Galusi, the Hainu B'Rosh Hashanah, B'chinas Yiddichul. This is the Yin of a Dedili. So Ani Ladedi, Pashas here is saying, Ani Ladedi is in Chedesh El, and the Dedi Li is a Shoshana Yom Kippur. Rak, Tzorach Tchila, in order to get to this level of the Dedi Li, Tzorach Tchila, Eres Ave V'yira, there is Susul L'Sata. Here he says that you could awaken Ave V'yira, and there is a Susul L'Sata, there is our Aveda, and through our awakening we could awaken Aveda Ave V'yira, in Chedesh Shehi Be'el, that's the Chedesh El, that's Ani Ladedi. How does this work with what he just said? He said like this: we know Shebe'el Uzman is Gal Sidim Midas Harachmim. So even for our Aveda that we awaken our Yisus L'Sata V'yin Avava V'yira, we need to have a Keich Malamayel. In the Neder Shebe'el Uzman is Gal Sidim Midas Harachmim. In the month of Elul, we have the revelation of Yidgim Midas Harachmim. Well, Hovin Zed, to understand this, what does it mean? Yidgim Midas Harachmim in the month of Elul, Ki Lo Mem Yemei Sachir, V'yinim Yom Tov, K'mei Shabbos Yom Teim Shebehem is Gal Silakus. Why is it weekdays and not a Yom Tov like Shabbos and Yom Tov, which then the Eibush reveals himself? What's a Shabbos? What's Yom Tov? It's explained like since why Shabbos is also in Malacha, because we're in front of the king. Man the Machva B'Mocha Kamen Malka is Hepech HaChaim. If you're in front of the king, you can't do anything. You can't show that you could do also. You could also accomplish something. The Eibush's presence is obvious. There's a lesson from the letter the Rebbe once. Someone wrote to the Rebbe. Ayid wrote to the Rebbe that. How could you do anything if you're writing, if you have Einitzav Love? How can you ever do anything? So the Rebbe had to explain to him, so to speak, as he should know that the Eibush wants he should do. From Shabbos, the Eibush reveals himself on such a level that's not Shaykh, a Yid should do something. He's Bakel B'Metzias. As they state in some of them other places. So the question is, why is it that El is not a Yom Tov? Frat basis man in Gimel Midas, especially that this is the time of Yid Gimel Midas is revealed. Shem Orasel Yenus Me'ei, which is a very high revelation. The name is Gal B'Yom Kippurim, and this is the revelation of Yom Kippur. The highest time of the year, the highest day of the year is Achaz Bashana. Yom Kippur is what is the time of his Gal Gimel Midas Arachmim. The way the Eibush is the ways for himself, higher than the sphere as the sphere. This is Yud Gimel Midas. Certainly, there's a big difference between Yom Kippur and El. Yom Kippur is not a Yom Tov, and Yom Kippur is a Yom Tov, the highest day of the year, and El is not a Yom Tov. Achini Yuvan, to understand this, we'll understand this. I'll be Moshel, Vusta Moshel, everyone knows, L'melech, Shekedim, Be'leir, before he comes to the city, there's many places that the king is on his way, coming to the city, and Yates the Anshe Irli Krose, and the people of the city go out to greet him. The way regularly we understand it, that the king comes out to the field to the people. Here he says that the people go out of the city, the people are Be'etzem and Anshe, and they're going across to greet the king in the field. And they're going to greet the king in the field. As the Ayid is Anshe. It's kilo. The Yid is going out to greet the king in the field. What's the in this? I think it's the beer from the Rebbe, but the Rebbe points out this the Kudah, huh? That's what I. It's not mine from them yet. Was that showing, and then is able, the Friedrich is Mason, like the Rebbe always stresses, that they could, not just they're able, not just they're allowed to. They're able to, Kol Misharetz, Lotus, Lahakul Panov, whoever wants could go and greet him, Makabos, Kulam, Besaver Panim Yofes, and he greets them with a nice face, and it shows a happy face to everybody. There is Medaik, why I say Sefer Panim Yofes, and Panim Sechkes, what's the difference? In a nutshell, the Rebbe says that Sefer Panim Yofes is the Eibush's Makabel. Why does it say Makabel and Mara? Here it says Makabel, here it says Mara. So the Rebbe says Makabel, Sefer Panim Yofes, means that the Eibush is receiving the people because they come to their Seres Shuvah. And then since they have a Seres Shuvah, because they want to greet him, that's the type of greeting the king. In the Nimshal, it means that to go to be Makabel Mach Shemayim, that's of Avetz Shuvah, that a person returns. And as Makabel and Makabels and the Eibush is Makabel that B'Sever Panim Yofes. And besides that, and that gives him even more strength that he'll be able to do more tshuva even stronger. Umar Panim Sheikhkes, the king shows him a happy face, shows him the tiny that the Eibush has in the etzem of a Yid, that the Eibush had a tiny from a Yid. And that the Eibush has a geschmack in a Yid, that gives him even more keich to be able to overcome his Yitzhar Hara, to be able to actually be one with Hashem. So this is what happens in the month of El. After this is the Moshe, that he's in this field, and they're greeting him, and he receives them, accepts them, and he shows them his Panim Sherkis. When he goes into the city, they go after him, they follow him. When he comes into his chambers, his kingly chambers, they could only go in with a special permission. Even this is only the special people. And Yechidus Gula. It's not everyone makes it into the Chedesh Shoshana and in Kippur. In other places it's explained in Chassidus that even a person gets a Seis Shoshana in Kippur, but it should last the whole year. He has to be Mufchon Shabam Yechidus Gula. In other places the Rebbe says that every person becomes a Mufchon Shabam Yechidus Gula. Everyone's able to enter the king, and everyone's able to become part of this special group that goes to see the king in his chamber. So the Rebbe says in many places the Rebbe says that the Melech Basoda, he takes off his crown, he wears the Vush HaSoda, he comes in such a way that he should be approachable, that everyone should feel comfortable to go to him, not scared of him. And Mashiach, when he's in his king, in the palace, he's already without the Vush Malchus. So it's already in a different state. So he's going to explain. The same thing is, we understand, Monntevel, Yetzl Hakle upon his Bar Basoda, we go to greet the king in the field. To greet the Eibishter in the field. What does this mean? It says in the Pasuk, that the Eibishter shines his upon of his Pnimius to the Yid. Showing in Oris Yid Gimel Midas. Because that's the in of Oris Yid Gimel Midas, the 13 Midas Harachim. Shehi upon him, which should be in a way of ponim biponim, that the Pnimius of the Eibishter should be misgal to the Pnimius of a Yid. That the Pnimis of the Eibish's interest, his essential interest should be connected to revealed to the Yid. Through this that a Yid reveals his inner will, that what is he involved, what is he excited about, that his whole inner will is to connect with Hashem, with heart and soul, from the depth of his heart. This is what is interested. This is what he excited. This is what excites him. This is what he wants, and this is the only real will. Like the Musta Ma'aseh, there's a story of one of the Chassidim. He said, if you put a bocher, the same thing on the Shom Guf B'chlal, if you put him to the wall and you ask him, what do you really want? He's going to say he really wants to be connected with Eibishter. That's his real rotzen. And this order, from where does this level come from? From the Eibishter, it comes from the level of Keil. Shahu, which this level of Keil, or Reishis Kol Agim Mamidus Umakeil Nukalusa. It's the beginning of all the 13 minutes, all the Gimel Sarachmim, and it's the mocker of them, and it's Keil, all of them. It says the pasuk Keil Havai, Deivshis Keil, and that's Vayor Lon, that's shining into us. This is the Ein Sof, this is the Eir of Ein the Ein Sof. Like it says in the pasuk, Havai Lekecha Yisheichlu. The Eibush is considered is compared to fire. Why does it say that the Eibush is compared to fire? Pirush, Gemei, Lamosh. Just like, for example, Zivei, the ray of the fire, right next to the fire, which comes out of the fire Atzmi. In general, there's no difference between the fire itself and the place right next to the fire with the ziv of the fire. It's both lichtig, both varim, and you can get the same advantages of right next to the fire as at the fire itself. There's a difference, but Kach Kivyochel, so too, is Ha'or, is Ponim HaMeiril Chos Yisrael, the Or from the Eibishter, which shines to all the Jews, from B'chinas Keil, all the Yidden, from B'chinas Keil, from the level of Keil, Shum B'chinas Ein Sobur, Cha'atzmi Mamish. This is the level of Keil, which this is not Stam a level of Eir, it's not Or Levad, it's the Ein Sof, Cha'atzmi Mamish, it's the Mamish, the expression of the Eibishter K'mei Shehu. The Eibishter is Galus, is the way he is, Mein Ha'atzim, it's Dovuk Ba'atzim, it's Mein Ha'atzim. It's just like whatever he is, that's what his aid is. Eid mein amoy. And this is what's shining into the Yid. The Eibishter is shining into the Yid. The Izgalus of the Eibishter, that's what's Mizgal into the Pnimis of the Yid. Therefore, Yid is called Yisrael. Meloshin Sar Keil. That the Keil, that's the Sar, that's what's ruling over him. The ruler, what's the ruler of the Yid? What's the Sar? What has Srora? What rules over everything in his life is Keil the Eibishter. Va'ayud meir al asmodas hapul, and the Yud shows that it's constant. Whatever. That he's constantly doing it. He's not something that he did in the past or it's or in the future. It's Yisrael. It's constantly what's Pirush is Abchinas Keil who Saru Meshul Bekirvi. That the Eibishter Keil is the Meshul's rules over everything he does, everything he thinks. What does this mean? The Hainu. This means she yes, b'chol nefesh mi Yisrael. that there is in every single soul, every single yid, nitzus alakus mamish. There's a nitzus alakus, hamachaya nafshe alikis. It's not just there's nafshe alikis, which is a nivra from the Eibishter. There's a nitzus of alakus. There's get chayt alein. Umeishu b'tivi l'mayla loy be'er achayim. And he's been naturally nimshach. He's driven to go to become one with the Eibishter himself. Lims nafshe lovis baruch, to give over his whole self to Hashem. This is beyond what he could explain. It's not something that he explains. He's giving himself over. If it would come through understanding, he would never get to understand such a level of to throw himself totally away for the Eibishter in Ganzen. Why not? Because Seichel has his limitations. Seichel could have a Seichelic explanation, and Seichel calls him Metzias. So Seichel can't go out of Metzias. Seichel, the highest level of Seichel, how much you want, like the Rebbe explains in B'yem Ashdosiyim, that Seichel is a Metzias, Mameli, cannot give himself away, cannot get out of himself. Will never get himself to put himself totally aside for the Eibishter. This is what it says, Bonim Atim Lavai Lekechem Yasrin Chitas, that the Eibishter says, the children for Hashem, a child is the foot of the father. A child will do everything with his father without any explanation. He's an extension of his father. Just like a foot which is totally bottled to the head and doesn't have its own will. It's a piece of flesh from Tzadatzmi. Everything he does is how his brain tells him, how his seichel tells him what to do, how his nefesh tells him what to do. Nefesh is shaded b'meach, he's telling him what to do. This is what it means, be mevatel your will for the will of Hashem. So in order that the Eibush should shine into the person, the primus of the Eibish's will, a person has to put aside all his own wills. Should have another will, like Noah always says. If a person is filled with his own ritzenis, he has no place for the Eibishter. Whereas Klireikon, he doesn't have his own ritzenis, he's not interested in his own things, then he has place for the Eibishter. Here he stresses that he shouldn't have he shouldn't have a klal any other ritzenis. His only battle ritzencho is that he has no wills. Everything what he has is what the Eibishter wants. That's his rotzen. He has no ritzenis atzmim. That's the level of, that's what happens in Chedush El. That's what he says. That's the Eibush is made in a Yid. That the Eibush, the primus of the Eibush is made in the primus of Yid. What's the primus of a Yid? Yisrael, a Yid is, like I said, Api Shechot Yisraelu. He's going to mention later that he's a Yisrael. It means that what's Meishav V'Shel B'Kirbe, what's Meishav V'Shel B'Kirbe is the Yin of Kel, the Yin of Elokus. And this is constant. Yisrael is constant. In was wir sagen das, wir sagen, wie stark das ist. Das Mamisch ist wie der Eibishter. Even though it's only his Gau's revelation of Hashem, but you're not short of the Eibishter. It's not less of the Eibishter. It's the Eibishter himself is revealing himself. Mein Amoy. Hast du die ganzen Eibishter? Ja, ganz not his Gau's. It's a so you think it's lacking something? He says, no. It's mein amoy. It's mamish mein amoy. It's how the ganze Eibishter werden es gallen dir. Wie kann sein, als Yid soll kann selber sein sich der ganze Eibishter? Gelik ben Herz mit Kolle, gelik stativ mit Arzt, stativ mit Sauce, stativ mit Kolle, aus dem ganzen Eibishter. Aus dem Eibishter. Gab's noch ein gelik, der haben once in the day can sicher und afternoon. In order der haben da gelik lekam mal mamish how each one of these little shaynas is a mute. Chelik and lehakel, lekaz, a shame, mimal. Every lotion is not whatever. It's different than regular. Not like the regular. The yemim had like the mimal mamish, mal from herzen and madrei and comes up in mamoshes. But over there, the Rebbe says chelik nishtals. But in other places, the Rebbe explains, Etzim Shatevis B'Tzosa, Tevis B'Kulei, and was still a year in Tavshin Chov, the Rebbe spoke about the Teir from Baal Shem Tov, Etzim Shatevis B'Tzosa, Tevis B'Kulei, that the whole Etz, you have the whole Etzim in them, wie Zox Chareis in them, wie der Chelik nehmt them. Wie Gila can es nehmen, or even more, Amor Etz considers that it's even more than Eir. But over here in this Maimer, the Riley is saying that the Eir is made in the Yid, in the primus of a Yid. So he's saying that it's that the Eir itself, Atzmi Mamish. It's Mamish, the Eibush is Gisach Yibitz HaYid. Werden es gallen Ayid. The Mele, der Yid gibt sich echt lieber zum Eibischten im Ganzen. Wenn sie mit dem gibt sich ihm zu Iber, gibt sich der Yid also, gives himself over to Hashem, that is totally involved in David. He doesn't have his own wills. Maybe that's why he stresses it. Fine. V'hine yesh ba'odom, there's a person, there's many levels. There's b'chinas here meishav, a settled city. Then b'chinas sada, a field. Umidbar, a desert. What's these three levels? After midbar, what's a desert? He added leizruah. This is a land which is not planted. Other places says eretz leizruah. What's zruah in the eretz? The in of lay. Negative things. Shema ma'asim v'deburim ha'machshavas ha'shalei lavayehema. This is action, speech, and thoughts which are not for Hashem. Ain't tzarich le'min pogam ha'machshav v'deburim ha'iseh. No question if a person had blemished in his thought, speech, or action. Filu, which means he didn't have Veda. Filu gam yoneh heter. Even if it's permissible things, actually, but it's things that he doesn't need to serve the Eibishter with them, or dvorim b'teilim, it's insignificant concepts, insignificant things. It's not the way of the king to get involved with things, with prostitute things, with things which are not valuable. That the Adam does not sit there, does not reveal himself over there. Who's the Adam? Dr. Pirush, Adam who? What does it mean? Adam is referring to the Eibishter, which it says on the chair, on the Dmus HaKised, the Kisei HaKoved, is the Dmus, is Kemar Adam, which is the Adam Elyon, which that's the Eibishter. Is Le'yoshav Shom, doesn't sit over there, is not found in the Milded Yeta. You can't find the Eibishter in Milded Yeta. It's not where the Eibishter is invested. When you find the Eibishter, when is the Eibishter Sheikh, when is the Eibishter Sheikh, when is the Eibishter Mizgala, when the Eibishter reveal himself, when you make a mikdash for the Eibishter, and it says b'seicham in every single person. The eitz hayutzla is, so what's the eitz? That a person which is in the midbar, what's his eitz to get out of it? In Iksiv, it says in the pasuk, "V'kashtem misham is havai lekecha." Search from there, you'll find the Eibishter. What does this mean? Pirush ki in Iksiv, it says in the pasuk, "Vayal ki meser ki tev." It says the Eibishter said the light is good. What is the pshat? It's good. The Pirush Razal ki tev lignis. It's good to hide it. The heart of the Pnimis Harotzon that he said before in last Sif, the Pnimis Harotzon of the Eibishter shines in every single Yid. It's naturally, it's very hidden. You have to reveal the Eitzer, the treasure of Yerushalayim. It's a major treasure, like the Alter Rebbe explains that it's higher than Zman. It's higher than Moki, higher than Zman, the Alter Rebbe explains. The Yesh, Mishu, B'chinas Aveda, it's like B'chinas Golos, and it's possible that it should be by a person lost, and it's in the Golos, it's in exile, it's for Lord, it's Baal. Valzen Nemar, this it says, we cash them, that you have to search the Eibishter, you have to search for Hashem, the Vaksh, the Chabis, you should search, what do you lose? What do you look for? You look for something that's lost. It's like something which is lost by the person, B'chinas Golos. It's there. But it's lost. This is the Nitzalakus, the spark of the Eibush, which is in every Yid. Besides that, he has a Nefesh Alikis. He has a Nitzalakus, L'chai Nafshi Alikis, that every single Yid possesses, every Yid has. So B'kash to Mishom, it's Hashem Alikech. Es Havai Alikecha, Shu Nimshach, M'b'chinas Keil, Asher B'chol Odom, Hachas Nafshi Alikis. This comes. Yeah, as he sagt, Nitzalakus, Hamachai Nafshi Alikis. That is free and let's Nasif. Sagt da. Nitzalakus mamash hamachai nafshel kis. Da ist jetzt begonnen mit so Nitzalakus mamash hamachai nafshel kis. Noch dem brackets. Das ist Nitzalakus beide steht. In der Nitzalakus nivre, in Shama was Nitzalakus nivre werden slavisch Nitzalakus beide. In Yechide werden slavisch der Nitzalakus von Göttlichkeit. An Nitzalakus von Alakus. Also steht der Gesetz. In Yechide wird nicht slavisch nicht zu beide. Yechide ist a Keili, Yechide liachtoch, wird a Keili für den Eibishter. In der Eibishter Schäde, in der Stamm Meister von Friedrich Rebbe, mit Manu Morozov, wenn klein Kind, gewinnt an Neshama, Neshama. Das ganze Meister, wo ist der Neshama? Wer ist der Meister? I don't remember the story exactly. Ich denke, der Meister. Ich denke, ich bin der Plotter. I think it's okay. When he came out of Yechid, the Friedrich Rebbe, when he was a kid mamish, the Friedrich Rebbe asked him, where's the neshama? And he said, in the heart, in the head, he said. He said, I don't remember. Okay. The Friedrich Rebbe showed that in them is echt an Neshama. So they want to know if it's Yechide or it's better that's in Yechide. He says, so this is Zohar Savai Lekecha V'Kash Meshamas Hashem Lekecha Shonim Shem Cheniskeel Asherim Cholodim Hachis Nafshei Lekis. This comes from the level of a kale, which is in every yid to give life to his Nafshei Lekis. I mean, of course, the pasuk says, how do we find it? We kash to Misham. From how do we find it? We have to search from there. What's from there? Misham Daik. Dafke, it says Misham. Kishem Shef Shel Chaber Zachar Aveda V'Lim Motzo Zulas Memokim Shenevdo. Just like when you can't search a lost object to find it, unless you're going to look in the place where it's lost. So too, you can't find, you can't reach, you can't connect to the primis, the way the Eibsher reveals himself to every yid. To have a Avat Hashem and a fear of a yid from the Eibsher. First, you have to look for it in the place where it got lost. Where's the place? The place where it got lost. That a person has to search his ways. You're checking all his actions, speech, and thoughts that I went by from the day he became. What's the touch me? The Chassidus to say when he got when he. The Pashto means from the day he was born, but it's hard to remember things that happened from the day you were born. I think Chassidus is the same I think other places it says different lost things. But here it says Ashalei Tevim, which are not the way it should be. That's why it says in the pasuk you should search the Eibishter Misham from there. Why is it called Sham over there? Ki Loshen Zeh, the Loshen when you say Zeh, this Hudover Sheyochel Mamish Laharis Olav Bet's boy. This is something you could point to your finger and show this is it. Ashayim et Olav Ki Hu Zeh. This you could say about it that this is it. The only one you could say that this is it is only the Eibishter. Because anything else, this is my Eibishter and I'm beautifying. Why? The Eibishter is everywhere. And that everything is the Eibishter, therefore you could say it. But everything else, in other places explain that everything else is not really it. You're pointing on the thing, but it's not the thing. The thing is not the real thing. The real thing is the Eibishter that's mechayet. It's not the thing which is seeming to exist. The Eibishter is everywhere and anything. It's very far down. That's what means Heaven Ameid, that he turned this Shom, Pari is Shom, and he says Heaven Ameid, that Derech Shal Meid, V'simcha Hever L'simcha Shal Helus, that the Simcha was being the Simcha in Dusha, he transformed it, he put it away into Simcha of Helus. I'm not sure what he wants in this pasuk. Fine. What's will from them Maimer Chazal? What does he want? That Shom is the in of Klippus, is Heaven Ameid. Okay. So, when you bamid, but this is zufrieden von sich. And das ist der Shom. Der Herr ist Simcha Shel Helus, ist zufrieden von sich. Zufrieden von sich. Okay. So, when you bamid, but has tamu, this is what it says also, that bamid, but has said now before it says, the in of Kedusha, the in of the Eibishter is present, the Eibishter is obvious, and what's bamid, but has so he teaches Pirush Aidei Dibur Eisis Atfila instead of verkehrt the Shom the Dibur Machshavas Dibur Maisa he shav Diburim of Teira Dibur Eisis Atfila or Dibur Eisis Atfila he says the words of davening Shehu B'chinas Midbar Hazeh. This is such a Dibur of Hazeh where the Eibush is present because of Zeh Keli. So too when you learn Teira in a way that you see the Eibush in the words of Teira because of Parshas Matis B'Pirush Leimer Zahadovor that the Eibush's word is the words of Teira Zahadover, the Eibush is present in the words of Teira, this causes that this destroys the klippus. I'm not sure. Tamu is Tmimus? I've read Gans. And you become Gans. But you become a Ganser. Gans with the Eibush tastes. Shom Yamusu. Shom Yamus is speaking about the klippus that they fall down. Why? Because the Shom Yomus is the in the Filas Apayim, which what do you do by the Filas Apayim? Shehuna Alos Nitzutzim Shenoflu B'chinas Shom. He elevates all the Nitzutzes which fell down into the level of Shom to Klippis. And Aidei Lech Havai Nafsh Yesa, he elevates still through giving himself over to the Eibishter, elevating himself to Hashem. He elevates all the Nitzutzes together with him. Zel Shekotzav Yisona Heitzi Mishom, that he took us out of the level of Shom. Ki be'emes Heitzi Yisona B'chinas Shom L'dovka Be'izbar, the Eibishter took us out of Klippis and brought us to connect with Hashem. So that's the way it happened by Tzis Mitzrayim. That the Eibishter took us out of Golus, of Mitzrayim, of Klippis, and brought us to the level of being Dov God Eibishter Tziyum Matiter B'Pashtia. Achmisha Pegin Beizim Machshav Dibur V'Kolshki Maise, but if someone that was not B'Shleimus in Machshav Dibur Maise, V'Kolshki Maise, and as the Nemra, this it says, Uvi Kashta Mishom, then she fash B'Maise V'Shalei Chulu V'Shalei Tevim, by days, when a person will look that something's missing, Achmon al-Islam, by days, Yismar Malim V'Kirbei, they'll be meridius from it. V'Yoshev L'Avaya V'Irachamei, will return to the Eibishter, the Eibishter Rachmonos. Dann she'er Rachm Rabbi man nitz l'kusha b'teichem b'chinas Golus, to awaken a great Rachmonos in the Eibishter on the nitz l'kus, which is b'chinas Golus in the person, because he's involved in Hepech of l'kus. Al Zan Nema, and this it says, on this thing that he awakens Rachmonos, and this takes out the nitz l'kus, which is the Golus, should go out of Golus. Where do we see the singing that the Rachmonos that he awakens on himself? He feels a great Rachmonos on himself. And that itself is enough, suffices to take him out of Golus. As it says in the Pasuk, Yaakov Hashapodas Avrom. Yaakov redeems Avrom. What's Yaakov? Yaakov Kemidus Yaakov Midus Rachmonos. Yaakov is the in of Rachmonos. Shaydeza paid him out Golus Midus Ave Himidos Shal Avrom Avinu Avashol. This redeems from Golus the level of Ave, the mid of Avrom Avinu, which that's the in of Ave. So Yaakov Hashapodas Avrom. Kilachei Nikra Avinu. This is why the Eibush is called Avinu, or it's called Avram Avinu. A gate of Avram Avinu. Kilachei Nikra Avinu. Not sure how you're supposed to read this if she's good. Yeah, Kilachei Nikra Avinu. Or he's going on the Eibush. The Eibush is called Avinu. V'liz brak har davul, li bottle chol b'ritzei yizborach. To become bottle to the Eibush, like a child to a father. So this is the Eitzah Yotze that he's saying. That he started saying Eitzah Yotze, what to do if a person has a problem that is plaguing Machshav Dibur Maisa, he's not perfect in 100%. So what should he do? He should be Meir Rachem al Nafshei. Or be Meir Rachem al Nafshei, be Meir Rachem from the Eibishter on his nefesh that he's in the Dag of Shom. So then through that he'll get out of Klippus. He'll be connected with the Eibishter. He'll be again one with the Eibishter. The Etzem the Seir Rachmonos al Nafshei. That's enough. That suffices to awaken to get him out of Golus. He continues to say, but a person that checks, sees what he's doing, and will not, he won't fall, he won't be meridius from his situation. Even though he's thinking deeply about this fact, how this godly spark of the Eibishter is begols in his nefesh, in his soul. Zeis yosim alibe. What should he do? He should put his heart. And also, Allah Amoshla, he should say about himself this moshel. What should he say? There's the nature of a person. Shekevle, I feel to pay the ragle. If a person's natural instinct is that when he hurts even the toenail, because he bumped it into a rock, right away he feels it in his head, and he has tsar. All the nerve system comes from the brain. But when is this happening? When this limb, which is got banged, is still connected to him. It wasn't chopped off. But if it chop off the limb, he doesn't feel the limb's pain. Because he's cut off from his source. That's the motion. A Yid is connected to the Eibishter. And therefore, we have to feel this pain that we're paying him and we brought down the Golas, the Nitzalakus. If we're mevatel for half a second, it's already Abgam b'machshava, abgam b'dibur. So Meile, Gaf al Pisha Chotachulu, even though he sinned, but he's still Yisrael, he's still connected with Eibush, but Yesh Lepchins Nitzal L'kus Hanal. Ve'enan Mistalik B'mena doesn't go away from him, El Shu B'Golus, he's in Golus. Not only is he have Nitzal L'kus, he adds more. Al Shaddai Nikra B'Mailas Madregas Hasar. He's still considered a minister, a general, Shubchinas Yisrael now. This is the level of Yisrael. In the day of Mailas Asar, it's not similar to the mile of Asar. In the Yesa B'Shivya, the Mailas Ahedyet. Asar, when he's in Shivya, is not similar, is not nothing to compare to the Stama person which is in captivity. Because it's still recognizable the mile of this general, of this Sar. In one moment, he could transform himself to go back to his previous shtel, to the previous status where he was before. So that's what would be the regular case. If he would feel his situation and feel bad about it, that would help him, that he would be able to get out of it. The fact that he doesn't feel, that it doesn't bother him. The pgam is because the person did it so much so that he ripped himself away from his source. From this fact, on the contrary, he'll have awakened on himself even a greater rachmanis. Even though that he doesn't feel the rachmanis, but he'll awaken by the Eibush greater rachmanis. The Eibush should have rachmanis in him. Because he's so bad off, so to speak, that he can't help himself. He can't even help himself to be made rachmanis on himself. And he knows where he is. He knows where he stands. That we beg the Eibishter, du hab rachmanis auf uns. Ich weiß nicht, wie great the rachmanis auf mir. The Eibishter should have rachmanis on us with his rachmanis, because we can't fathom our rachmanis. Our small mind cannot understand how big the rachmanis is. And we ask the Eibishter that the Eibishter should have rachmanis in him. On us. Ki midas rachmanis, midas shel Yankiv mavrich min hakotzel hakotzel. Rachmanis of the Eibishter is midas shel Yankiv, which is emes. As mavrich min hakotzel hakotzel, he comes in every single level, he's there. So even on our level, the lowest of levels, shemeyesh, hu kemosh shenifra nichras mishar shel legamri, although that he's like someone which is cut off from his source totally. Aval begin, the hirit shuvah echas, yoshev is dabik mishar. Still, the Alter Rebbe is telling us there's much hope, because through one hidur tshuva he can return and be connected to his source. It says over there in the Likoty, he says, if, for example, if you're able to find in a healing that you can connect the body with his head, although after it's disconnected with lapel and refuahs, you don't have that. But that's the same idea over here, that he's saying we can reconnect. It's ilin haya nimtza. By the nimshal it happens. It's a motion from ili yitzir. That's the word that he's saying over here. The other places it says that he is never really disconnected totally. Other places that it's only the different levels of the neshama, but it's not the etzva neshama. He's almost like the Rebbe even says when they get to Kol Yisrael Shem Chelik Leil Mabo, and it says Ve'el She'elam Chelik Leil Mabo. The Rebbe says Elam Chelik Leil Mabo. They have the Gans Leil Mabo. They have a higher level, because they're going to come eventually. They're going to come to the higher level to be able to experience that too. I feel like I have a crisis. Also, them I have a reconnection with the Eibishter. The levels of Chochman Bina Ovivimi are Azavuni. They can't handle me. The Eibishter himself, it takes me in and hugs me. If even this doesn't help him. So he said already 2 eights. 1 eight was to awaken Rachmanos. The fact that he's in Golos, that his neshama is in Golos. 2nd eight is he cannot awaken Rachmanos. He should tell himself that he's really bad off, that he can't even get a feeling for himself. So that gufa should get him going. If that doesn't work, if even then it doesn't get awakened of Rachmanos, this is the eight Yotze. It's the 2nd eight Yotze in the Bible. Yeah, then it says in the pasuk, it says in the pasuk after Anil David Lee says Arei b'Shishana. It says in there, Ma Shishana is happening the issue is just like a rose. It changes from red color to the white color through fire. So it says, If your sins will be like red, kashel galbino, they'll turn into white, into snow white. Shachet nikra odim. Geen kol ha'mayis v'adavar machshavas. Sin is called Adam, and so to all the actions, the speech, and the thoughts. Shebachol yonei elom. Nikroim gam ken Adam. The fisheim machshavas hayitzim tach b'leisim. Because this is all thoughts and yitzor. A person said that will want to be connected with the Eibishter. He doesn't have to do it in yonei elom mechal. He'll do it for the Eibishter. He'll do it, but to do it for the world, that already is that's a yin of Adam. So this is true. So he's happy to chiver. So this will be transformed to the white color. So it could transform to white color through fire. What's this fire? So there's a higher fire, a fire from the Eibishter, a fire from below. A fire from above that the Eibishter should give my sedis Milo. That he should get a sedis shuv Milo. That the Eibishter should give him a line of fire for the Eibishter should get excited about the Yonam Elikim. And that should be his whole life. That's like all of them zeichlas. But the fire from below, which a person could do, is in biyodi to do it. This is to make seguv mantainis. L'mayit chelbe v'domei, to minimize his flesh and his fats and blood. Shemesit the klippas thing, which comes from klippas negev ha'oz, and that will cause that yoy ravai ponav v'chinas oris ponav kanal. When a person limits himself, minimizes himself, he gives place for the Eibishter to shine in him. He'll come to the level of having the Eibishter shine into him. The level of Yoyah Ponim that he spoke about before, the primis of the Eibishter will shine to his nefesh. Other places it says of chassidus that a person is not subrochen, he's not a kelim for chassidus. That's why he doesn't have a kiyum, and the person doesn't last in the person because he's not open to it. He's full of himself. He has no place for other things.
It doesn't mean roll in the snow.
No, he didn't say roll in the snow. He didn't say that. He didn't say this idea. The Rebbe said b'chlal that you should do not the meat in the achil v'shti davke. You eat what you have to eat, but you should dibur and machshava v'chulu, things that are healthy still. You could adrab, it helps you health. But in some places the Rebbe would say, yeah, different types of tainis and different types of iskafi. After he helped himself. He's a geholfen Yid. He already has a connection with Eibush. He has a feeling for Elokus. One more thing, the person has to put advise himself. Mashakos says in the pasuk, in the streets, I was searching what my soul had a passion for. Until I found what I was looking for, what I was crazy about. I held on to it. I didn't let go of it. Until I brought it to my mother's house and to the room where I was born. This is the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, yeah. Pirish of Nafshi was the pshat of Nafshi bekoma to Loshem Kvar. Mashava Kvar. What I already had a habit for, I was already crazy about, I was already excited about. What's a Yid? A Yid is one thing with the Eibishter. He's already like a child which was rooted in the father's brain. He's there before he ever came out, he was already there. So said to my Yid is one thing with the Eibishter himself, it's all the Machshava Gduma. Which is the level of Tehiri, before the Eibishter ever created on the Shomeh. The Yid is really one thing with the Eibishter. He's calling the Lakus himself, the Eibishter himself. And from this level that the Yid is one with the Eibishter, it comes that he has this Avos Soteres, that he's crazy about the Eibishter, that he can't live without the Eibishter, he can't be a moment without being Dovak Telakus. That the Eibishter hid this aid, he hid it in every Yid, the tab of every Yid. This is what it says that I was excited about it from long ago. Okay, we said before that it's possible that this Ave should be lost, and it's in Golus. I'm going to search it. Where does he look for it? He looks for it in the streets where it got lost. That's what he said before. Myself. But even if he did find what he lost, he found the connection with the Eibishter. He's excited now about the Eibishter again. But the Eibishter, the air of the Eibishter, the excitement of the course will not last in him if he won't have Kelim. If a person doesn't have Kelim, that causes that the air leaves him. Kaneda. Therefore, the eitz is to make keil to the Eir of Eibishter. This is the words of Teira. When he said, I'm going to bring him the Chatzal Erpeno, Jeresa, Obey Simon, V'cheder Eros, he's referring to Teisha Meksav and Teisha Peh, learn Teira. Mishkos Kavai Lekechei Sheichlo, it says in the post that the Eibush is fire. Before he brought to get to warning that the fire and the air that comes out of the fire are similar. Now he says in another type, just like fire cannot hold on, cannot be. It's a wick, a shum davar anechas, or something that is holding on to something that is consuming, so it doesn't last, it goes away. I'm going to bring it down to learn Teira. I'm just because of the Ramasam and Messina Be'elmit. These are the Apostle, Shishanim Sheshena Alochas. There explains what's Shishanim Sheshena Alochas. They learn Teira. Why does it say about this? Harei b'Shishanim. Now he's touching every single word. Harei b'Shishanim. Shishanim is Teira. Zerei b'Shishanim. He brings the Eibishter. He's feeding the Eibishter, so to speak. He's so mefarnes lavim sheb'shamayim. A Yid is mefarnes the Eibishter. Mipnei sh'aydei it's got Teira, because through learning Teira, which what's Teira? Sure, it's saying his baruch. What's Teira? Teira is the Eibishter's will. Ruach, Eisi Ruach, V'amshich Ruach, L'yisherim is Galva, because Pnimis it's saying his baruch. When a person learns the rotzen of the Eibishter, he brings that into him. Should be resting the Eibishter's rotzen, which means the Eibishter's inner will, inner desire. Just when a person eats, his neshama becomes one with his body. That his neshama should be able to express itself in his body in a that the Yid also brings down the Eibishter. He should be made in the Yid. By through learning Teira, doing mitzvahs, which they are the Eibishter's will. Ruach, Eisi Ruach, V'amshich Ruach, L'yisherim is Galv, K'n's Horis Rotznelian, Boris Ponim Cholu, that he brings down through this learning Teira, doing mitzvahs, which that's Rotznelian. He brings down the Rotznelian should be Yisherim is Galv in the person, in a pneumistic way, in the Horis Ponim of the Eibishter. Through the letters of Teira. Gam, another thing he says, besides the learning Teira, is also the mitzvah tzedakah, through learning, doing tzedakah, shu mitzvah chesed, which that's chesed, shu chitzenis, so clearly, because the va'ava, which that's the chitzenis of the, and a keli for the air, va'ava, b'chinas p'temiyusi, ava is the pnimis of the scene of chesed, the pnimis of the Eibishter, nasat alone, Teira's chayim avas chesed. The Eibishter gave us, from the pnimis of the Eibishter, he gave us Teira and avas chesed. Pirushkin, the air p'nei avai, shu chitzenis air, yashnei kelim, shem Teira v'chesed, for the air pnimis of the Eibishter, from the pnimis of the air, the Eibishter, there's two kelim that you need learning Teira, and also avas chesed, the tzedakah. So this is the eitzah to have bekitzer nimritz. What he's saying over here, there's 3 stages in getting aided the connection to Hashem. Through first of all, through meir rachmanos in a person, and then if that doesn't work, he should feel that the fact that he doesn't feel bad about it, he should be meir rachmanos on himself, that he's so bad off that he doesn't even feel his disconnection. And therefore it's even a bigger rachmanos in him. And then they said, if that doesn't work, then he should have tanis v'sigufin. But even if he does awaken and does get to have a connection, he needs to have, that should last in him, the connection to Hashem, he has to have learning Teira and doing chesed, doing mitzvahs, mazdokah. This is the mind of the kids.